The thing about playing electric bass is that you always need electricity, but with this Joyo battery-powered amp, you can go totally off-grid for about 8 hours at a time. In addition to being very portable, this thing has a ton of knobs, so let's take a look at its other features. On the top, we've got the input jack with the switchable -6 dB pad, and then your basic amp controls for gain, tone, and volume. Next on this top row, we've got this amp selector, which gives you options to select different overdrives or characters or voices for your amp. Now, though this is a bass amp, a bunch of these are for guitar, but nothing in the rules says you can't use them on bass. Moving to the bottom row, we've got some effects to play with: compression, some modulation effects, and then delay and reverb. Moving the knob clockwise lets you cycle through them and then increase the speed of the effect. This kind of reminds me of my very first guitar amp. It had a similar thing. It's not amazing or really precise, but it's fun to play with on here. All of these knobs can be saved to a preset using this preset button, and you can switch between 2 different presets. Finally, we have these 3 knobs which control the drummer and the looper. You've got your volume knob, you've got a tempo which has a tap function in it, and then you also have the drummer knob here which lets you cycle through different styles, and then pushing down on the knob starts and stops the drummer. You do have a button here to control the looper, but I found that it was way easier to control it using the included foot switch, which also gives you a control to swap between the 2 presets. Oh, and lest I forget, this thing also does have Bluetooth connectivity. It was super easy to, just push the button, you connect it to your phone, and then you can play backing tracks. And I know somebody's gonna ask, and the answer is no, you cannot connect Bluetooth headphones to this. This is for music playback only. Not that you'd want to use, headphones for playing bass through because the latency would be terrible, but I know somebody's gonna ask, and the answer is no. Moving to the back, we've got the jack for the foot switch, and then we also have a bunch of I/O for recording. So you've got a USB-C port if you want to record to your phone. You've got a line out, and you also have this 1/8 inch port, which they had a weird name for in case you wanted to use that to record to your phone. I think that's an odd inclusion for 2024, but there it is. Last things we've got here are the headphone jack and the line in, which are both 1/8 inch in case you want to do a line in instead of doing Bluetooth. And then of course the power switch and the connector for the included power supply, which is an 18-volt power supply. So is this thing any good? I mean, it's good enough for what it is. It doesn't sound amazing and it doesn't get crazy loud, but it does have a ton of fun stuff to play around with, and it makes it a really, really fun portable practice amp. If you wanted to solo or maybe even duo busk with a guitar player, I think that this would be okay for that, but I think anything more would be pushing this thing's 15 watts to the limit. But I will say that this thing is a lot better for the campfire dream that a lot of people buy acoustic basses for. It's going to be a whole lot louder, and then you can just play a bass that's actually easy to play. It's fairly small, light enough to carry one-handed with these handles on the top, and yeah, it's decent. All that said though, I would probably only recommend this to somebody who needed specifically battery operated capabilities. I think you can find better amps with all of these features in other models as long as you're willing to be tethered to the wall. But if you knew that you were going to be somewhere where you weren't going to have power and wanted to be able to play bass, then yeah, there you go. Get a battery-powered amp like this. Worth noting though that Joyo also makes a smaller, but simpler, less expensive version that's like a 10-watt thing that just has like the basic amp controls and no drummer and looper and effects. And if you wanted a cheaper, more stripped-down version, then that one's worth a look too. For more information, you can check this out at the link in the description. Thanks so much to Joyo for sending this out for a review, and thank you to watching this video all the way to the end. I hope to see you on the next one. AMPX!